FBI Director Kash Patel is testifying at this moment on Capitol Hill, facing tough questions from a Senate Judiciary Committee on his running of the agency. Now, there was some back and forth when Patel was asked about the firings of several heads of the FBI. CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane has been listening into that hearing. He's pulled away, kind enough to speak to us and let us know what's happening. Scott, good morning to you. So how is Director Patel defending himself under scrutiny from Democrats, especially about the FBI purge and alleged politicization of the FBI?
That really has been the focus of the first 90 minutes of this hearing. Democrats pointedly questioning whether Kash Patel has some type of political litmus test inside the nation's top law enforcement agency for people who work there or potential new hires. And he denied accusations a few moments ago that he asks people who they voted for
before they're hired into the FBI. That allegation came not just from a Democratic senator a few moments ago, but it came in a lawsuit that was filed just a few days ago by 3 recently fired FBI agents. Let's take a listen to one exchange at the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning.
Hey guys, welcome. Kyle Morgan is here. Trump's own FBI director, Kash Patel, was forced before a grand jury with immunity, meaning he had to choose between lying under oath and going to prison for perjury or telling the truth and potentially destroying Trump. And when cornered like that, even the most loyal soldier starts talking. Think about this for a moment. Here is what most people have no idea about. Kash Patel took the Fifth Amendment not once.
So you're not accountable for your decisions to take people who served our country so admirably and terminate them without any cause?
That's a one-sided story. Anyone that has been terminated from the FBI, generally speaking, failed to meet the needs of the FBI and uphold their constitutional duties. And you providing a one-sided story from your perch is absolutely disgraceful, because the men and women of the FBI deserve better. And your attack on the current leadership of the men and women of the FBI is equally disgraceful, because now you're attacking the leaders that are our brave SACs in the field who are doing the job that this country needs.
It's disgraceful.
And we will continue to do it.
Excuse me, it's disgraceful when Mr. Meyer and Mr. Giardina, who served our country so well, are terminated apparently because of the rants of a broadcaster.
That is your opinion. It is not a fact.
It is a shield for people who would otherwise incriminate themselves. But prosecutors saw that and they understood exactly what it meant.
So 2 different groups of former FBI agents have challenged Patel for how he's managing the Bureau. The ones that were just name-checked there by Senator Dick Durbin are Chris Meyer and Walter Giardina. They issued statements this morning alleging they were fired without cause, without process.
It meant Patel had exposure. It meant he knew things that could hurt him legally, so they gave him immunity. They forced him to testify. And whatever came out of his mouth in that testimony, whatever admissions he made, it is all sitting right now in Jack Smith's sealed report. And Senate Democrats are demanding access to that report. They are saying the public has a right to know what Patel admitted, what he confessed to, what evidence exists that could prove both he and Trump broke the law. And if that report gets released, if those secrets finally see the light of day, Kash Patel is not just losing his job as FBI director, he is facing prison time, and so is Trump.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records, and I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this. And I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me?
So let me walk you through exactly what happened here. Kash Patel, Trump's handpicked FBI director, is at the center of multiple major investigations. The classified documents case, the Epstein files matter, the January 6th pardons, the FBI purges, all of it flows through him. And back when Jack Smith was investigating Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, he called Patel to testify before a grand jury. Patel took the Fifth. He refused to answer questions because answering could incriminate him. He invoked it twice, and prosecutors knew exactly what that meant. It meant Patel had something to hide. It meant he had knowledge of criminal activity. So they gave him immunity, limited immunity. The deal works like this. You have to testify, you have to tell the truth, but we will not use your own words to prosecute you. We will use them to prosecute someone else. And in this case, that someone else was Donald Trump. Whatever Patel said in that testimony is reportedly significant.
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
We know this because Senate Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to get access to it. Senators Adam Schiff and Dick Durbin sent a formal letter requesting Volume 2 of Jack Smith's classified documents report, the specific part that deals with Kash Patel. And in that letter, they said something very telling. They said the report contains key information and evidence pertaining to the nomination of Kash Patel as director of the FBI. They said Smith's findings on Patel's testimony and activities are essential to assessing his truthfulness, trustworthiness, and regard for the protection of classified information. Let me translate that for you. What they are saying is that Patel said things under oath that directly contradict what he has been saying in public, things that show he lied, things that prove he knew Trump's classified documents defense was unfounded. Senate Democrats want that information public because if Patel's immunity testimony undermines Trump's story, if it proves Trump never actually declassified those documents, if it shows Patel helped build a false defense, then both of them are in serious legal trouble. And it is not just the immunity testimony. There are also sworn statements from former FBI agents in civil lawsuits, agents who were fired or forced out during Patel's purges. In those lawsuits, they have testified under oath that Patel privately admitted certain actions violated FBI policies, that he knew some of the firings were probably illegal, that he knew he could get sued, but he did them anyway because the White House wanted it done, because Trump wanted it. Patel followed orders even when he knew those orders were illegal. And now those admissions, those private confessions, they are in sworn statements, in court documents. If prosecutors want to use them, if they decide to charge Patel with abuse of power or obstruction, those statements become evidence. Evidence that Patel knew what he was doing was wrong and did it anyway. So what exactly did Patel admit under immunity? What is sitting in that sealed report? And how close are he and Trump to facing criminal charges based on Patel's own words? This is not speculation. This is a federal prosecutor granting immunity because they needed Patel's testimony to build a case against someone bigger. This is Senate Democrats saying there is damaging material locked in a report they are desperate to see. And these are sworn statements where Patel admitted to conduct that may have been illegal. All the pieces are there, all pointing towards serious legal consequences for Patel and for Trump. Let me explain what immunity actually means, because a lot of people do not understand this. When prosecutors give someone immunity, it is not a favor. It is not a gift. It is a tool. And they only use it when they think the person has information that could incriminate someone else, usually someone bigger, someone more important, in this case, Trump. So when Kash Patel appeared before a grand jury and took the fifth, prosecutors knew he had damaging information that could help prove Trump committed crimes. But Patel would not talk because talking could incriminate him too. So prosecutors made a deal. We will give you immunity. We will not use your words against you. But you have to testify. You have to tell the truth. And if you lie, immunity does not protect you from perjury charges. So talk. And Patel talked. He testified about Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, about what Trump told him regarding declassification, about what Patel knew and when he knew it. Here is why that matters so much. Patel had been publicly claiming that Trump declassified whole sets of materials before leaving office, that it was all legal, that Trump had the authority to take those documents. That has been Trump's defense all along. He declassified everything, so there is no crime. But prosecutors did not believe it. They thought Patel's story was unfounded, potentially false, and they wanted him under oath, forced to tell the truth, to see if his testimony matched his public statements. Based on what we know, it did not match, because if it had matched, Senate Democrats would not be demanding access to that testimony. They would not be saying it contains key information that contradicts Patel's public claims. Here is what makes this so damaging. If Patel testified under immunity that Trump never actually followed formal declassification procedures, if he admitted Trump's claims about declassifying documents were false, if he said Trump knew he was not supposed to take those materials, then Patel just undermined Trump's entire defense. Trump's whole argument is that he declassified everything, that it was legal, that he had the authority. But if his own person, the one who was supposed to back up that story, admits under oath it is not true, then what is left? Nothing. Trump gets caught in a contradiction, and the classified documents case, which Jack Smith already said had proof beyond a reasonable doubt, gets even stronger because now you have Trump's insider admitting the defense does not hold up. Patel's exposure does not stop there. Senate Democrats are specifically demanding Volume 2 of Jack Smith's report, the classified documents volume, the part that deals with Patel's testimony and activities. In their letter, Senators Schiff and Durbin said the report contains evidence about Patel's truthfulness, trustworthiness, and regard for the protection of classified information. That is not neutral language. That is saying we think Patel lied. We think he mishandled classified material. We think he helped Trump build a false defense. And we want the evidence that proves it. If that evidence exists, if Jack Smith documented Patel giving conflicting stories, one to the media, another to the grand jury, another to Congress, then Patel is not just losing his job as FBI director. He is facing potential perjury charges, obstruction charges, charges for lying to investigators, all of it. And it gets worse because Patel has also been questioned under oath about the Epstein files. He has testified before Congress about FBI handling of Epstein-related documents, about redactions, about missing records, about why certain files have not been released. Democrats have been pointed in their questioning. They have accused him of running a protection operation, of shielding powerful individuals while exposing victims, of following Trump's orders to cover up evidence. Patel has denied it all. He said the accusations are false, that he is following the law, that everything is being handled properly. But if Jack Smith's report contradicts that, if there is evidence Patel knew files were being withheld improperly, if there are documents showing he helped Trump cover up Epstein connections, then Patel's testimony to Congress becomes perjury and his denials become obstruction. Then there are the FBI purges. Patel took over as FBI director and immediately started firing people, career agents, investigators, anyone Trump viewed as disloyal. Former FBI agents who were fired have filed lawsuits, employment lawsuits, whistleblower lawsuits, and in those lawsuits, they have included sworn statements saying Patel privately admitted certain firings violated FBI policies, that he knew some actions were probably illegal, that he knew he could get sued, but he did them anyway because the White House wanted it done, because Trump ordered it. Patel, loyal to the end, followed those orders even knowing they were illegal. Those statements, those admissions, they are in court documents now under oath on the record. If prosecutors want to use them, if they decide to charge Patel with abuse of power, those statements become evidence. Evidence that Patel knew what he was doing was wrong, that he violated the law intentionally, and that he did it to serve Trump, not to serve justice, not to protect the country, but to serve Trump personally. That is the kind of evidence that gets people convicted because it shows intent, it shows knowledge, it shows a deliberate choice to break the law. Here is where all of this comes together. Kash Patel is at the center of every major Trump scandal, classified documents, Epstein files, January 6th pardons, FBI purges, all of it. And in each case, there is evidence he knew more than he is saying, that he did things he knew were illegal, that he helped Trump build false defenses. Now with immunity testimony sealed in Jack Smith's report, with sworn statements from fired FBI agents, with Senate Democrats demanding access to everything, Patel's exposure is significant. He is not just a witness anymore. He is a potential target. If prosecutors decide to act, if they use his immunity testimony to pursue charges against Trump, if they use the sworn statements to charge Patel, both of them are facing serious legal consequences. The path is clear. Jack Smith already concluded there was proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump committed crimes in the classified documents case. He said the evidence was sufficient to convict. The only reason Trump was not prosecuted, the only reason he is not facing legal consequences right now is because he became president again. DOJ policy will not allow prosecution of a sitting president, but that policy does not protect Patel. Patel is not the president. Patel is just the FBI director. If there is evidence he lied under oath, if there is proof he obstructed justice, if there are documents showing he violated the law, he can be charged right now today. And if he gets charged, if he faces prosecution, he becomes a potential cooperating witness, the insider who can provide information, the person who knows everything and has every incentive to tell the truth to help himself. That is a significant concern for Trump, because if Patel cooperates, if he decides to work with prosecutors fully in exchange for a deal, he can testify to everything. What Trump told him about the classified documents, what Trump ordered him to do with the Epstein files, what Trump directed regarding the FBI purges, all of it. That testimony, combined with Jack Smith's evidence, combined with the documents and recordings and witness statements, becomes a substantial case. It becomes a case Trump cannot easily defend, and it leads to serious legal consequences, whether through impeachment if Democrats take Congress or through criminal prosecution once Trump is out of office. Either way, Patel's testimony is important, and if he is facing prison himself, if his only way out is cooperation, he is going to talk. When he talks, it creates enormous problems for Trump. Senate Democrats know this. That is why they are demanding access to Jack Smith's report. That is why they are asking specifically about Patel's testimony. They know it is damaging. They know it contradicts Trump's defenses. And they know that if they can make it public, if they can show voters what Patel admitted under immunity, it undermines Trump's credibility. It proves he has been providing an inaccurate defense. And it gives Democrats the basis they need for impeachment if they take Congress, or for criminal referrals if they do not. Either way, Patel's admissions, the things he testified to under oath, are significant to any legal proceedings involving Trump and potentially to Patel's own future. Let me walk you through the key things you need to understand about this situation, because it is not just about one person facing legal trouble. It is about the insider whose testimony could create serious problems for Trump and himself and everyone else involved in these matters. First, Patel took the Fifth and then got immunity. That is significant. When someone invokes the Fifth Amendment before a grand jury, it means answering questions could incriminate them. When prosecutors respond by giving immunity, it means they need that person's testimony to build a case against someone bigger. In this case, Trump. Patel's immunity is not protection. It is compulsion. Prosecutors forced him to testify. Whatever he said is documented. It is in Jack Smith's report, and it is damaging enough that Senate Democrats are demanding access to it because they know it contradicts Patel's public claims about declassification. Contradictions under oath become perjury. Perjury leads to serious consequences. Second, Senate Democrats say Smith's report contains damaging evidence about Patel. Schiff and Durbin formally requested Volume 2 of the classified documents report, the part about Patel. They said it contains evidence about his truthfulness, trustworthiness, and regard for the protection of classified information. That is not asking for routine background information. That is saying we think Patel lied. We think there is proof, and we want it public. If that evidence shows Patel gave conflicting testimony, one story to the media, another to the grand jury, another to Congress, then he is facing serious criminal exposure. Lying to federal investigators, lying to Congress, lying under oath, those are all crimes. Third, Patel publicly claimed Trump declassified documents, but his immunity testimony may contradict that. Patel has been Trump's main defender on the classified documents case. He said publicly that Trump declassified whole sets of materials, that it was all legal, that Trump had the authority. Prosecutors thought that story was false. They wanted Patel under oath, under immunity, forced to tell the truth. If his immunity testimony says Trump never actually followed formal declassification procedures, if Patel admitted the whole defense was not accurate, then Trump's case weakens significantly. Jack Smith's evidence, which already demonstrated crimes beyond a reasonable doubt, gets even stronger because now you have Trump's own person admitting the defense does not hold up. Fourth, there are sworn statements where Patel admitted to conduct that may have been illegal. Former FBI agents who were fired during Patel's purges have filed lawsuits. In those lawsuits, they have included statements saying Patel privately admitted certain actions violated FBI policies, that he knew some firings were probably illegal, that he knew he could get sued, but he did them anyway because the White House wanted it done, because Trump ordered it. Patel followed. Those admissions are under oath. They are in court documents. If prosecutors want to use them, if they decide to charge Patel with abuse of power or obstruction, those statements become evidence. Evidence that proves intent, proves knowledge, proves deliberate law-breaking. Fifth, Patel is at the center of every major Trump scandal. Classified documents, Epstein files, January 6th, FBI purges. He is involved in all of it. In each case, there is evidence he knew more than he is admitting, that he did things he knew were wrong, that he helped Trump address legal exposure. All of that evidence is piling up. Immunity testimony, sworn statements, Senate demands for sealed reports, congressional testimony under oath, all of it pointing toward the same conclusion. Patel faces serious legal exposure unless he cooperates. Sixth, Patel is not protected like Trump is. Trump is the president. DOJ policy says you cannot prosecute a sitting president. Trump is shielded for now, but Patel is just the FBI director. He is not protected by that policy. He can be charged today, right now. If there is evidence he committed crimes, if prosecutors decide to act, Patel is facing potential indictment. Once he is facing that possibility, once he sees prison time as a realistic outcome, his loyalty to Trump faces real pressure. If Patel's only rational move is to cooperate, to tell prosecutors everything in exchange for a lighter sentence, then Trump faces an enormous problem. If Patel cooperates, Trump is in a very difficult position. Seventh, this creates a classic prosecutorial dynamic. Prosecutors use lower-level people to get to higher-level targets. That is how it works. You charge the insider, you present the legal consequences, you offer a deal, cooperate, and we will recommend leniency. Do not cooperate, and you are facing years of prison time. Patel is a significant potential target for that approach. He knows a great deal. He was involved in significant matters. He is facing serious potential criminal exposure. Prosecutors can raise perjury charges, obstruction charges, abuse of power charges, all of it. Then they can say, or you can cooperate. Tell us what Trump ordered. Tell us what you knew. Tell us what really happened, and we will recommend leniency. Patel, facing that choice, has strong incentives to talk. Going to prison to protect Trump is not worth it, especially when Trump is protected by presidential immunity while Patel faces the consequences alone. Eighth, if Patel's immunity testimony becomes public, it undermines Trump's defense. Right now, Trump's classified documents defense is that he declassified everything, that it was legal, that he had the authority. If Patel's testimony says that is false, if he admitted under oath that Trump never followed declassification procedures, then Trump's defense collapses. Prosecutors can use Patel's words to demonstrate Trump was providing an inaccurate account, to prove the documents were still classified, to prove Trump committed crimes. Trump cannot easily defend against that because it is his own person, his hand-picked FBI director, testifying under immunity that the defense does not hold up. Ninth, the path to serious legal consequences is present for both of them. Jack Smith already concluded there was proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump committed crimes. The evidence was sufficient to convict. The only thing stopping prosecution was DOJ policy. Once Trump is out of office, once that protection is gone, prosecutors can reopen the case. They can use Patel's immunity testimony. They can use all of Smith's evidence. They can pursue charges against Trump. At the same time, they can charge Patel for lying, for obstruction, for abuse of power. Both of them are facing serious consequences unless Patel cooperates first, unless he works with prosecutors and gives them everything they need. If he does that, Trump faces the most serious legal exposure, and Patel's sentence would potentially be reduced. That is the path. That is how this could end. 10th, Senate Democrats are building the oversight case now by demanding access to Smith's report, by highlighting Patel's testimony, by making his contradictions public. They are laying groundwork. If Democrats take Congress in the midterms, they will use all of this. They will call Patel to testify. They will demand the sealed portions of Smith's report. They will show the public what Patel admitted under immunity. They will use it to pursue impeachment. Trump's own FBI director testified he was providing an inaccurate account of declassification. Trump's own insider admitted to conduct that may have been illegal. This is not partisan attacks. This is Trump's own people testifying under oath. That makes impeachment proceedings substantially stronger and makes conviction more possible. Here is where we are right now. Kash Patel made significant admissions under oath. He testified under immunity about Trump's classified documents. He made statements admitting to potentially illegal conduct in FBI firings. All of that testimony, all of those admissions are sitting in sealed reports and court documents waiting. Senate Democrats are demanding access. They are saying the public needs to know what Patel confessed to, what he admitted, what evidence exists proving he and Trump broke the law. If that evidence becomes public, if those admissions come out, both Patel and Trump are facing serious legal exposure. Patel knows this. He has to know this. That is why his confirmation hearings were so contentious. That is why he is fighting so hard to keep the Jack Smith report sealed. He knows what is in there. He knows what he admitted. He knows that if it becomes public, if prosecutors decide to act, he is facing serious consequences. He is facing potential indictment, a possible trial, and the prospect of prison. His only way out, his only realistic hope, may be to cooperate, to work with prosecutors, to provide everything they need and save himself in the process. That is the path. That is the road that leads to serious legal consequences for Patel and potentially for Trump and everyone else involved in these matters. The evidence exists. The The testimony is documented. The legal case has been outlined. The only thing delaying any legal action is political protection, Trump's presidency, Republican control of Congress. But once those protections change, once Democrats take power or Trump leaves office, the evidence gets used. The cases get reopened. Kash Patel's admissions, the things he testified to under immunity, become the foundation for legal proceedings against both of them. The admissions are already made. The evidence is already there. The legal framework is already in place.